YouTube. Hi. Hi. It's Maddie. It's really unsafe.
Okay, so we're going to review this test. Just the questions that you have. So looking at part A, page 1. Okay. On the whole was pretty good. Are there any questions from anyone from any of those? I think most of you were pretty good. The one that I would pick out is question J, which was -7 plus 6, then subtract 1. A lot of you put the answer 0, but the answer is -2. The reason why I think you put the answer 0 and not -2 is because you looked at it and went, oh, -7 and 7. You didn't really think it through properly, because none of you would do that if you were thinking about it properly. You just went, oh, -7, 6 and 1 makes 7, must be 0. Okay? But in fact, it's -7, add 6 makes -1, and then -1, subtract another 1 is -2. So it was just a case of being a bit careful. Right? The other one, just to mention, most of you were okay with this. L was -1 to the power of 9, okay, which is obviously -1 times -1 times -1, so on until you've got 9 of them. Now we did that. The trick
If you have a negative number to the power of an even number, it's going to be even number one, positive.
Positive, yeah.
And if it's a -1 to the power of an odd number, it will be a minus.
So this number was odd, so we know the answer is going to be negative, and 1 when you multiply it is just always 1, so we end up with -1.
But if you don't have any brackets on the negatives, it's always.
Well, we'll do that in the next, because it comes up, yeah. Because that use of brackets actually is a bit of a grey area, because I've always written brackets around, but it's not always done like that in the book. So, yeah. Let's have a look then. So page 2, no further questions on page 1? So page 2, any issues with any of those? Yes, no?
I just think something's more
A bad mistake.
I thought that 28 was a factor of 32.
Yeah. Do you know what I thought? Rather than that, I thought you reread part G while you were answering part H. Because you had factors of 28, and then you read the factors of 32, and I think you kind of actually reread factors of 28. That's what I imagined was going on in your head. Yeah. So I don't think you think 28 is a factor of 32, because it clearly isn't. But it's difficult when you've got all these questions and you lose track. So, any questions? So, triangle numbers, haven't put them on the wall yet, so we're okay with triangle numbers?
I just made circles.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I did a circle and went through.
Yeah, exactly. I saw some people do that. Triangles, so it's 1, and then the next one is 1, and then 2, so 1, 3, and then some people only did 1 and then added 3, so that made 6. Next one, 10, and so on. Okay, most people knew that. So, no other problems with any of those questions? It's pretty good. Nothing anyone wants to discuss?
Nope.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on then to page 3. Right. Now here was the issue one. I think use the ladder method to find the lowest common multiple. The lowest common multiple of 15, 48 and 60. Now, we haven't actually gone through the ladder method. That's why I said do whatever method you like. Now, what we can do, actually, we could use the Venn diagram method, but only one person, I think, tried the Venn diagram and understood it and got it right. Probably the 3 intersect. No, someone. Is that you? Okay.
I did it.
So what we'll do is,
I did it, but I got it wrong.
no, I said correctly use the Venn diagram.
Mr.
Right, so if you wanted to use another method, remember it's the lowest common multiple of all three numbers. Actually, this isn't the ladder method, but it's an easy enough method, was write out the multiples. So 15, 30, 45, 60, oh, we've got a 60. Does 48 go to 60? No, so let's go to 48, looks like the awkward one. So 48, 96. Next one.
144,
100,
192, 240.
200 and...
40. That's as far as I went.
So that looks like it. So then we've got 60,
That's
120.
60 times 4 is 240. Yeah, 6 times 4 is 24.
Yeah, and 15. If 60 is in the 15, then 240 definitely will be.
No,
So
15 times
40.
no, 15 times 16 is 200.
15 times.
Well, I'm just creating something.
Right, well, let's not waste too much time. You copy them down now because you will have this available on video. So, do.
I is the lowest common multiple between 15 and 16.
Yeah.
And it was 60, but then it's the lowest common multiple of 15 and 48. And I got 240. And then I realized that 240 was a multiple of 60. So
Yeah, that's one way to do it as well. Yeah.
40, 130, and 15, and would make the common multiple of them, and then I tried dividing 240 by 60.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah, there's ways to all sort of similar methods to this. Yeah.
And I did that kind of.
You did the factor trees.
I did.
If you try to find it between 60 and 48, will you still get the lowest common multiple? Because I know you'll
So that's the
get
question,
between 60 and 40, and I know that 15 will go into anything 60 will go into. But
Yeah. So I guess the focus would be on the 48, wouldn't it? So it's the
Yeah.
first one. I remember it's the lowest common multiple from all three. So actually, 240 is not the lowest multiple of 15 and 60, but it is the first time 48 comes into play.
I did three and
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, should we have a quick look then at the three Venn diagram methods? So we've got 15, 48, 60 again. So factor trees. So we've got 3 times 5, 48, well, 2 times 24,
2 and 12.
2 and 12,
2 and
2 and 6,
6.
2 and 3. 60 is,
2 and 30.
which is
6
going to
and
be
10.
15, which is
3 and 5.
okay.
I got that.
So we've all got this. So then, right, here's maybe where we haven't chatted about it. When we have our Venn diagram, so we've got 1, we've got 2, but then we have 3 like this. So then what we do is in the middle, right? Okay. We would have to do 3, 3, 3,
And then the other one is like
5. No, but so if I do 15, 48, and 60, well, what happens? Do I have to use these? So 5 there because that's that one and that one, and then
2 and 2.
so 48 with 60 has to be 2 and 2. So that gets that one, that one, that one, and that one. So then there's nothing more in the 60, but the 48 has 2 and
There's
2.
15 and 6.
Okay. So then, same principle as we've got, but what then? So we've got 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, so that's those 2 and those 2, times 3 times 5. Is that going to work? 3 times 5 is, so actually I'm going to do 2 times 5 is 10.
Yeah, that
If you
works.
get that way.
That works.
Times 3 makes 30. times 2 is
60.
times 2 is
120.
times 2 is
240.
Oh, because I had one extra 3.
Can I tell you why?
you can tell us what you did, yeah?
Well, I got it right using Venn diagrams, but I actually didn't do it this way because I was really lucky because since 15 doesn't have any factors of its own thing, you actually don't need the third one just for this one. So I did 2 because I didn't know how to use the 3s.
Yeah,
And then I put 3, 5, 2, and 2 in the middle.
yeah,
And then on the 48 side, I put 2 and 2.
Yeah.
And it just works as well because
yeah.
15 didn't have a circle.
I think, yeah, like you admitted, you got lucky.
But if it,
But it worked. didn't it?
But if it was like a different number that had more factors, it probably wouldn't have.
Yeah, I'm going to go stand over here next to the person that needs to pay more attention. Isn't. Okay. Get my bit of paper. That's all over the internet now, Maddie, that you're not paying attention to that. Okay. So that's all right. That obviously is something we haven't necessarily worked on to that level, but the ladder method will be in your textbook if you fancy having a look at it. It's just another way of finding factors. And it probably actually is quite a good one for when you've got 3 numbers. But we can have a look at some point if you want to. Factor tree method for 50 and 80. Easy enough. Everyone kind of did that, didn't they?
Yes,
Yeah.
I got it.
Highest common factor. Yeah, the answer should be 10.
Times numbers in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. Just the 2 numbers in the middle. And then use your factor tree from question 4 to write 80 as a product of prime factors. So actually, yeah, the answer was already there from question 4. Some of you have already written it in the product of prime factors in index form. So it had to be in index form. So you know the difference between saying 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5, which is 80, okay, and actually writing it in index form, which would be
2, 4 times 5.
2 to the power of 4 times 5. So 2 to the power of 4 times 5.
We really put it right either way.
No, it said in index form. There were 2 marks if you did that. Really shouldn't have got any marks because you already got your marks for that question 4.
Yeah.
I might have been generous and to give
I
1
did
mark.
I didn't do the right answer.
So that is index form. That is not index form. So in the question it says write it in index form. So you have to abide by that. Okay. Should we look at the next one? There'll be a couple of questions here. Okay. So
For question number 9, would the answer be okay if you
Okay.
put 2 hours?
question 6. Alright. Obviously a couple of issues just to go through. Negative 3 squared, well we know that's 9. That helps you actually with the problem some of you are having with pi. But just to check, square root of 64, I'm glad most of you then wrote plus and minus. I think one of you didn't and got half mark.
That wasn't me. That was me.
No, it's okay.
After all the times we've done that, and you still okay, right. Now this one, is a little bit debatable, but it's because we've got 2 different groups, and it is there in the question. The clue is in the question. Right. The answer. Before you just tell me the answer, what's the difference between the 2?
So, minus 2 is in brackets and minus 5 is.
Okay. So therefore, what are we using, Christina?
Do you think it's nice or good nice? Maybe so it's easy going to the 5 like that, 25, and then put the negative, which is negative 2.
So basically, this is how your calculator would look at it. So we have to do, using BIDMAS, BODMAS, powers get done first. So actually, this is not 25, it's actually negative 25. So this one is 4. So the answer is
Negative 21.
negative 21.
Can I ask?
Right, so the difference is negative 5 squared is negative 5 times negative 5. But negative 5 squared is like doing negative 5 times 5. Okay? So like when you put into your calculator, if you don't use brackets or you don't use the negative sign properly, it would do 5 times 5 first and then put a negative sign in front of it. Okay? So a lot of you fell foul of that one, to be honest. Yeah.
But I thought this things that were in brackets.
And Christina.
You do.
But she just said you did negative 5 squared.
The Glorious 2.
In which bit?
The negative 5 squared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, here. She said that negative 2 is in brackets, but then she said to do this.
Negative 2.
Both
No, I know we
things-
can do it first, but it's just like if you when you do it.
Right, what we like. Okay, so we're okay there. Question 7. Lots of good work there. Few mistakes though. Is there anyone thinks I don't understand why I've got that wrong, or are you all okay with?
I don't get why, but it's why.
Which one?
I can't do that in more section 3.
But, so negative 5 times negative 5 would be positive 20.
Yeah.
But then plus positive 4.
But it's not 25. Look, that would be positive 25, but what
Yeah.
we've got would be negative 25. This is not what we have because there's no brackets.
Whenever it's not in brackets, it's going to be a negative.
What? You never said that.
Yeah! But he did remind us of it.
Yeah, but I never knew that if it wasn't in brackets, it was.
Well, I do remember in class you saying, why are you putting those in brackets?
Well, yeah, you never.
I did answer.
I
I said,
You're all over the internet.
and I did say to make sure that you know it's a negative number. Oh, my
17 minutes.
It's alright. Anyway, it's never a problem making mistakes as long as you learn from it. So next time, okay? Are there any problems with question 7 that we would like to go through? Yeah? We don't get F, okay? So F is negative 4, subtract something, okay, equals 7. Now, hang on, I know you're keen to answer, but what I would like to say is, if we are starting our hot air balloon at negative 4, right, and do we go up or down to get to 7? So we have to go up to get to 7, right? So if you think about it this way, we're at negative 4, we've got to get up to 7, right? But that normally means we have to add something, yeah? But we have been told we have to subtract something. And the only way to go up if you're subtracting is if you're subtracting. That means we have to subtract a negative, and then it's what? Well, negative 4 to 7 is
4 to 7.
11. Okay. It should be on anyway, the window's open. Okay, does that answer your question? Alright. Right, so now the communications question. So we're looking at part B. Okay, right. Chatting, it makes it longer. So obviously you all figured out there was a problem with question 8. Okay. Because when it says Sarah's 2 lengths of ribbon, one measuring 24, the other measuring 32. She wishes to cut them into shorter ribbons which are all the same length. What is the shortest length of ribbon? you don't know? But if we answer that question, a lot of you put the answer 1 centimetre. But technically, the shortest length of ribbon is as short as you possibly could cut. Right? You could cut it into, yes, but what we decided, because the question was written wrong, that because they've given everything in centimetres, if you wrote 1 centimetre, we would let you have the answer, because it's not your fault the question was written wrong. What it should say is what is the longest length of ribbon she can cut. So we are looking for the what?
Longest common factor.
Hang on, you're all being a little bit rude. Shh, if someone's talking, you will be quiet.
When I noticed that the question was wrong was when I was doing the HCF, and then I did so I had the middle bit and 2 times 2 times 2 which is 8.
Yeah.
And then I realised that can't be the shortest because it's like very small. So then I realised.
So actually, the question was wrong. I hope it didn't confuse you too much. The highest common come on. The highest common factor is 8, which means that 24 centimetres of ribbon can be 3 lots of 8 centimetres, and then 32 can be 4 lots of 8 centimetres. So if we combine the 2, we get 7 lots of 8 centimetres. Now, I gave marks for that. I gave marks if you did write 1, all right, because obviously that's the answer we would accept for the wrong question. I gave marks if you were clearly trying to find the highest common factor, but obviously got confused because it didn't seem to work because you're trying to find the shortest. Didn't give marks if you gave answers like 2 centimetres.
Well, I got both.
No, I gave marks because you tried to find the highest common factors. The fact that you wrote the answer 2, it says very clearly on the paper, give method, and you might pick up marks.
Oh.
So I might have to give out, because I got bit, I might have to give you another mark.
No, I think you should leave it there.
Right? So we'll just check that one, because I was marking and suddenly went, oh, no, this is wrong myself. Okay, so I'll check if you've got an issue with that one, I'll check that. Okay? Now, that was the only issue. Question 9 was fine.
No.
Okay? This time, question 9, there's no problem with the question, is what I mean. So you've got a bus leaves every 6 minutes and a bus leaves every 20 minutes. So you are looking for the lowest
common multiple.
So we're looking for the lowest common multiple of 6. I don't think I'm too far away to understand that. No, you're exactly right.
I think that would still be okay if you wrote 2 hours. An hour and 60 minutes.
Would it be okay if you wrote 1 hour?
No, 60.
It would be okay if you wrote.
I just.
So we are looking for, I think I just looked at your,
I did so bad. I said about 3 minutes.
I shouldn't be, I put
60
1
minutes.
hour. I marked
Well,
for
that would
6
be okay.
minutes, that's why.
I put them.
So I shouldn't have given you those. I
Cross
misread.
it out.
Right, so we are looking for the lowest common multiple of 6 and 20 minutes, which is
60.
1 hour,
Oh,
or
I-
60 minutes. Yeah. So the answer would be 60 to 60 minutes or 1 hour. Now it does say what is the, how long before this happens again. So if you say 2 hours, that it will happen at that point, but it's not the next time it will happen.
It's
Okay?
like it's a multiple. It's a common multiple, but it's not the lowest common.
Exactly, it is a common multiple, not the lowest. Well put. Well put. Okay? Right. And then it says, nice and easy question, use the number line to increase -3 by 9. Again, the answer itself, because it's part B, communication, just writing the answer 6 does not give you the mark.
You have to do this.
You have to show the number
Use
line.
a number line.
Yeah, hopefully with a ruler it'll be better than that. -3, and then hopefully, however you want to do it, some of you did lots of little jumps. I could go one jump of 3 gets to 0, and another jump of 6 then gets to 6, which is a jump of 9. However you want to do it. Okay? So I get an answer 6, 1 mark, but you have to show the number line because it's your communication. Okay? Right. So these communication marks are the ones which I think you all had time to do, but some of you missed out on a couple.
I don't think, can I say it's correct?
You don't normally let it stop.
That's not true.
Go for it.
My friend was talking to me about the test yesterday. She finds it not fair that the teachers mark your smartness on what you didn't do. Because sometimes you know the answer, you don't get the time.
Yeah.
Well, they're not marking your smartness.
Although, what I would say, I 100% agree that actually a better way of testing it would be to give you as much time as you need.
Yeah.
However, unfortunately, when you get to your exams at the end of year 11, there is a part of it where the test is written to fit within a certain time, and therefore there are different ways to solve questions, and some of you will get to the right answer by trial and error, and some of you will get to the answer using a correct, efficient method. Now, who should be rewarded more?
The second one.
Right, so what they do is they say, well, if you use all our methods, you will finish well within time. If you have to use trial and error and long methods, where you don't really know what you're doing, but you can get there, you're penalised by running out of time. So that's why I think, actually, if you're going to get to the right answer, you get to the right answer, but I'm not in charge.
Wait, what if you just spell?
Yeah, I can. But red Y is slow, I guess.
What if you just
If you're slow because you struggle reading or you struggle writing, there are people that you can ask to get extra time for your exam. So
But what
if you're
about
slow just because you like using pretty colours and you can't concentrate, whatever, then that's a different thing. Okay, let's move on. Number 11, it does say explain using words and numbers and diagrams how you use factor trees. Now, you have to use a lot of words, but there are certain things that need to be in there. So, for instance, I would expect an explanation of number trees. All right. So, for instance, 30, you're showing that it may be 3 and 10. Right.
I made mine clear.
Right. So, but what I expect to see is, if you did that, I have to see you write. Right. Choose prime factors.
that's what I said.
I said prime.
Right? Prime factors. Again, if you think I haven't marked it fairly, just let me know and I'll check it.
I'm letting you know that I think
Right?
I think it's bad.
Prime factors was one part. Then, most of you put Venn diagram.
Because that's what I call it.
Okay, 30 and 42, yeah. But what we have to do is explain that common factors have to go in the middle. If all you did was say fill in the Venn diagram, that's not quite communicating enough.
Wait
Okay?
a second.
So you have to say the common factors. And then some people did very well and they like common factors and they put then what's left or the, that's fine, you don't have to write a long sentence of take out, you don't have to, but if you did, it's fine. You could just go what's left, choose the prime factors, it's important, common factors, and then you then had to write, multiply the numbers in the Venn diagram. Right? And you would show that the answer was
210.
210.
I have it.
Okay, so that's how. Right? There were 3 marks I think, for that whole thing. So I was looking for those things.
I got 2 marks.
If one missed out, you lost one. What's that?
Well, at first, I thought it said high school disaster, so I did the Venn diagram. But then I realized it said lowest common multiple, and you don't actually need the Venn diagram.
Yeah.
Lowest
Yeah.
common multiple. So I erased it. But then you only gave me 1 mark. But really, I did everything correct. And
Okay, well I'll check, because no, you're right, but you had to explain exactly
I
why you
did.
did. Well, I'll have a check.
Actually, you
Because
had-
obviously, in your view, you think you did, that's why you wrote it. But I'll have another look.
This is the problem. Actually, kind of you do, because you can't just do.
You just multiply
You
all
can't
the
just do
numbers.
2 times 3 times 5 times 2 times 3 times 7. You have to do 5 times 2 times 3 times 7.
Because what you would have to realise is the common factors, you can't multiply both of them.
Wouldn't you just multiply 2, 7, 3, 2, 3, and 5?
You don't.
Oh,
But you can't, what I mean is you have to explain. The process is not what's in marked here as such, it's whether you're explaining it well enough. So if you've just written, find the prime factors, multiply them all together, okay?
I did circle all the prime factors and multiply all the prime factors.
Yes, but you've put multiply all of the prime numbers together, which is wrong.
Which is
It's prime factor.
oh yeah.
Right? That was the problem. Okay?
That-
Okay, so we've got that. The problem solving one. I guess at this point people were running out of time.
Yes. I would have got all of them right.
So what we were looking at for the question trial on the problem solving is just your interpretation. Now the problem came because we didn't give you starting numbers. We were looking at what effects things have. So for instance, if you withdraw 60 from your bank but put 20 back in, right, what has happened to your bank account? Well, there's lots of ways of saying it. You have
You lose $40.
or you haven't lost 40, although you're not in debt because we don't know how much you have in there.
You took away
Yeah, your account is 40 less. I did accept it's lost 40. So you haven't lost it, you spent it, but I accepted it. It's $40 lower than it was before. Blah, blah. You have to actually say, really, there's only 1 mark, so it was very generous if you just wrote 40. You should say,
No, yes.
Right?
No, you said, you didn't do, oh, you put that.
right, I changed my mind. I was going to be very harsh. No, if you didn't put more, that's why a lot of you have gone more or less up or right, because I wasn't going to give it. And I thought, actually, if you've gone through the process, it's problem solving, not the communication, so I did give it. Part B, temperature rose 7, 13 drop, then it rose 10 again. What's the difference between where it was and where it is now? It is
4 degrees higher.
4 degrees higher
I
than
thought
it
it
was.
was 0.
Yeah?
This is like,
So whatever, now you could pick a value and add and subtract on that. Yeah, exactly. Whatever method you want to use. So it rose by 4 degrees in overall. Right? A puppy weighs 500, blah, blah. It ends up at 510. But the question is, how much more or less did it weigh? You should have written 10 more. Okay? There are 2 marks for that one, so I could take a mark off if you didn't explain properly.
oh, it says there's 4 marks.
No.
all 3. That's all 3.
For all 3 marks.
This is a fat.
Right, number 13, hard one actually, hard one to finish this page
Oh,
off.
I know.
Question,
About this one, about number C. Number C, letter C.
yeah,
So I did like all of the right steps, and then it was 525 subtract 16, which was 510. So we make it 5. Wait, never mind again now.
did you write 10 more or?
I wrote 510, but that's how much it was in the end. But it was
Yeah.
asking how much it was.
The
Yeah,
difference?
so I did the right steps.
Yes, so that's why you got 1 out of the 2. Yeah. Are we answering the final one now? Or?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So for 13, you basically just had to find the next prime number.
Yeah, it's quite a tough one.
Is it 201?
Well, actually, it's not the next one. Because 201, if you add up 201, it's not a square number.
It's 211.
So the next one that comes is 211, you're right. 207, yeah, if you divide by 3, you get,
2 plus 7 is
do it.
not.
You got a calculator in your hand?
3.
I've got a calculator in mind.
69. Okay, so that's not a prime. So you have to move on to the next one. And you keep trying, and you get to 211. 2 add 1 makes...
3. No, 4.
Yeah, very proud of you for that. That makes 4, which is square, and we check that 211 is prime. It's quite difficult. It's actually determining whether a number is prime when you start getting big numbers like that. That's very, very difficult, and no one's actually found a rule to work it out yet.
Really?
Yeah. My tip, that's how credit card security is done, through prime numbers. If you guys, you're like the top mathematicians when you get older, if you can ever come up with a formula for working out all the prime numbers, you'd be a very, very rich person.
Oh, because you can
Exactly. Right, but my tip for determining whether it is a prime number is try dividing by the other prime numbers. So divide by 2, then 3, then 5, then 7, then 11. And if you get to a certain point, you're like, well, I've gone far enough now.
They're usually odds. Usually odds. They're always odds. Except for 2. That they're usually odds.
Probably just didn't see it because it wasn't. Okay, and then final page then. Right. There was, you were running out of time, but there was a couple of issues. You can have one more mark on that 7. Right, so just to go through these final ones, it's off big maths again. So -9 adds 2 times -5. Obviously, 2 times -5 has to be done first. Okay, so that's -10. So it's -9 add -10. So the answer is
Negative
19.
-19. 19.
or 19.
Wait, what?
Oh, I thought it was.
Wait, so what's
I didn't
that?
do
B then, we've got -1 plus 2, all of that cubed, minus 12.
Divided by
I think it's right, minus 12. Okay.
1.
And then divide by -2. Now this is you have to be very good with this one. So brackets. So we've got -1 plus
There's 1.
1.
So, and the cubes is 1 still.
That's 1.
I got it.
Right, and then we've got subtract, but we have to do division first.
Yeah.
So 12 divided by -2 is -6. So then it's 1
Plus.
plus 6 makes 7. Part C, we'll do these quickly. 4 subtract -3, all of that squared. Subtract the square root of 2 plus -1. So that's 7 squared, which makes 49. Subtract the square root of 1, which is 1. So the answer is 48.
Because that one.
48 and 50 because the square root of 1 can also be negative 1. Yes!
There you go. 48 or 50. I am going to give you a merit for that one.
It's so hard to get back.
That's why it's 5 out of 5 marks, because 1 mark.
No, there were 2 marks for D. Miss Maloney didn't include these kind of ones, actually. I didn't penalise you, so she's not going to get an extra mark for that, but she gets a merit.
Well, you should give
You should give her a sticker.
Okay.
Give her a sticker.
Well, we'll see what mark she gets.
Face.
Alright,
That's not.
so we need to get through this for just before lunchtime. Okay, so the final question then, the whole thing is cube root of -6 squared plus -2 cubed all over 2 plus. Right. Now there's 2 marks, so we've got bits and pieces that we can get marks for. So we should have the cube root of, well, we've got 36, okay, okay,
Plus -2
and it's
cubed.
-8, isn't it?
Yeah.
Alright,
Yeah.
all over 2 plus -30.
Wait.
So you end up with the cube root of 28 over
Negative.
-20.
I have a question.
Yeah?
Wouldn't it be 36 plus oh, yep, I
So the cube root of -1 is
-1.
-1.
Woo!
I know it's 43.
Yeah.
I didn't get the answer. Wait, the cube root of -1, of course it's negative.
Exactly.
So that's all the questions asking. So,
Okay, so there were marks. I gave one of the method marks if you got these numbers right. So if I haven't given that to you, just check that I've given you that. Now here's what we're going to do. So I'm going to stop this now.